How's it going there, guys? James here from Butler Farms with a little Saturday project. If you watched a couple of videos back, you saw me make my cranberry sauce, and we haven't tried it yet, but some people that I've given some to, they really like it, and so I'm doing another little canning project today. Y'all have seen all my blueberry bushes, and I've shown you how many that we have on the tree this year, plus all the ones that my dad always gives me, even after they get what they want and take some to everybody at church that wants some. I'm going to get several quarts from him before the end of the summer as well. So we've got to make some room in the freezer. Now, I eat a lot of fresh blueberries when I'm actually at home to be able to eat breakfast and those kind of things, which is not very often. So to say that we have an abundance of blueberries that we need to use, we do. And so this is the project that we're doing today. Now, I'm going to go ahead and give credit where credit is due. This comes from Miss Wanda down at Deep South, actually off of her particular page, which is called Crazy Days. But this is a 3-ingredient blueberry jam. I watched her do it. It worked for her, so I decided to try it myself. And the only 3 ingredients that you have is lemon juice, blueberries, and sugar, and that's it. So what I've got going on here as we've gotten started, this is my canner. You can see that I'm getting my the water hot. This is going to be a hot water bath canning with no pressure canning here. Now on this back one, you can see in this stainless steel, I've got 3 quarts of blueberries, and I put a half a cup of water in there, and they're already starting to cook down. And here in just a few moments, I'm going to start crushing those with just a regular old potato masher. But you only need about a half a cup of water in there. You don't want it too liquidy, she said. It'll have trouble setting up. Now, one thing that you have not heard me say is pectin. There's no pectin in this, so we're going to use the natural pectin out of the fruit, and hopefully it's going to set. Best case scenario, we get jam. Worst case scenario, we get blueberry syrup. So it'll work out either way. But I'm going to cook these down. I've got my timer set for about 15 minutes. I'm going to let them continue to break down. And if you could see in the bottom of that pan, just that little bit of water I put in there, there's a lot of juice already starting to come out of those. So that's a good thing. When that's done, I'm going to crush them with the potato masher. Then I'm going to add my sugar. Now, 3 cups of sugar sounds like a lot. Go look on the back of regular jelly jars and stuff from the grocery store, and you'll see that that's really not a lot of sugar, because this is going to make about 8 or 9, I think, half pints of jam. So it's really not a lot of sugar. If you like it sweeter, then add more. If you don't want it as sweet, then obviously you don't have to put. I'm just following Miss Wanda's recipe because I know they don't like things extremely sweet, and I'm not a big fan of that either. So I mean, I do want it sweet enough to eat, but I don't want it so sweet that I have to use it as a dessert. You can also see that I've already got everything already laid out over here ready to go, because as I told you in the last video, when it comes to canning, once you get to that point, you don't have time to wash jars. You don't have time to wash tops. That's got to be done beforehand. My jar's already in the oven. I don't want to put boiling hot stuff into cold jars. So they're in there on the lowest setting. I think our oven, the lowest setting it'll go is 170 degrees, but that's plenty. My tops, I've already washed those in hot soapy water, and this was hot water when I put them in there. I don't boil my tops anymore. Ball says that that's not necessary. And you can see I've got my other canning supplies. There's my jar grabber, and of course my measuring thing to make sure that I get enough headspace. And yep, I'm still looking for my stainless steel funnel. Still can't find it, but this will have to do for today. So that's where I'm going to leave it right now. I'm going to do this, and when I get ready to add my other ingredients and start cooking it down to the consistency I want it, I'll bring you back in just a few minutes. Alright guys, I'm back here with you. It's been 15 minutes, and I want to show you, even though these berries have not started boiling yet, and I apologize that I'm having to talk so loud, but our hood decides to cut on with steam. These have not even started to boil yet, and look at all the juice that has come out of those berries. But I'm going to follow Miss Wanda's directions to the letter. And so now I'm just going to take whatever you got. If you don't have a potato masher, you can use the back of a spoon or whatever the case may be. This is setting up a lot like what happened with my cranberry sauce. We're going to use whole fruit. I don't want big chunks in there as much as possible, but I do want the fruit still in there. So I am going to spend some time crushing these up. Most of them have already popped, kind of like the cranberries did when I boiled them. but you can see it's starting to build up some heat now. I do want the blueberries in it. I don't want them to be full blueberries, so I'm going to crush them as good as I can. Now, once I add my other ingredients, I could still crush them up as they soften even more. So I'm gonna leave them right there for a minute. One thing that you also need is an old towel that you don't care if it comes clean or not. This is an old worn out towel. If it stains, it stains. And that makes Boss Lady, who's running the camera for me today, much happier if I don't ruin one of her good towels. So I'm gonna take my sugar that I've already got measured out and dump that in. And I've already got my half cup of lemon juice. I'm gonna give that a good stir. And now we are going to set a timer for 20 minutes. And what happens in that time is this is gonna continue to cook. I'm gonna continue to stir and crush these. I want to make sure that that sugar completely dissolves, which it will, because this is coming up to a boil now. I'll continue to work the berries. You can see that even though I just ran that potato masher through there, you can see how big some of those berries still are. They'll continue to soften. I'll continue to crush them. And the reason that we're cooking it for 20 minutes now is to get it as thick as we want it. If we need it thicker, then we'll cook it longer, obviously. We don't want it real soupy like it is now, so we've got to cook a lot of this moisture out of this before we put it into our jar. So I've cranked it up on high, and it's going to come to a boil now, and it's going to get rid of some of that moisture and then thicken up. So I'll bring you back in a few minutes when it's time to put it in the jars and see what it looks like then. Alright guys, I'm back here with you. I cooked this down, and I have to admit I cheated on something. I was using the potato masher, and then I got to thinking, you know, I've got that stick blender. There's no reason to work when I can let the machine work. So I did use the stick blender and chopped up the blueberries in there. I cooked it about 22, 23 minutes, something like that. And it's so hot, I really don't know how thick it's going to be once it does cool. But you can see the consistency of it now. It's pretty loose, but I had it at a rolling boil for almost 20 minutes. So I'm going to just take, and with my funnel, I'm going to fill, and I just splash myself with it, and I can verify to you it is extremely hot. I'm going to go to that bottom ring on my jar, and then I'll move my funnel over to the next one. You always, one thing that I always tell you, make sure that you do this. Probably the biggest mistake people make in canning is they don't wipe this rim. So I've got just a wet paper towel. You can use water. Some people use vinegar on it. What you're trying to do is get any residue off that rim. And especially with this having so much sugar in it, you really want to make sure that it's clean. I've got my top that's been sitting over there in that warm water. And I always have something to grab these jars with because they are incredibly hot. You just want it fingertip tight, that's all. And I'm going to take this off. My water's good and hot. And so I'll start moving these over. I'm going to try to put as many of them in here as I can. Now what I've got in here is my rack that you can lift jars out with. I did take Miss Wanda's advice, and I did order an extra round bottom that goes in a pressure cooker that gets here tomorrow, so that does us a lot of good. But you want to make sure that you have something on the bottom there where those jars are not sitting directly on the bottom. So this will do. I wish that my piece, my bottom piece for a pressure canner had come in on time. It didn't. It's not going to be that big a deal. So I'm going to finish filling these, and then we're just going to run them for 15 minutes once that water comes back to a good hard boil. And I will bring you back at the end and let you see what it looks like. I'll see you in a few minutes. Alright guys, back here with you for the last time. We've gotten done with the blueberry jam. Once the water came back to a rolling boil, I ran it for 15 minutes. Actually a little longer because I wasn't paying attention, but no big deal. One thing I did want to show you though before I wrap this up, as the blueberries were boiling before I put them into the jars, you're going to, especially with fruits, you're going to have a scum layer that comes up on top. It's just you'll recognize it from the juice. It's not bubbles. It's kind of a frothy looking stuff, I just take and scrape it off. Some people say it's not going to make a bit of difference in your final product. I think it does. I think it makes as far as taste, it probably wouldn't. But as far as color and presentation and things like that, I think it absolutely does. And I don't know, you can see how dark that is. Now you can see in the jar maybe how liquidy that still is. But these jars are extremely hot. They've got a long way to go to cool off. All of them have sealed. Actually, they were sealing as I pulled them out of the water. You could hear it, but it is very liquidy. But that's going to get better as it cools off. I suspect by morning that even if they're not completely set like you would expect from a jelly from the grocery store or something, they are going to thicken up. And then if you put them in the refrigerator, they're going to thicken up even more. But they got a real pretty color to them. I wish you could have smelled what it smelled like in here as they were cooking, that blueberry smell. So regardless whether they set or not, it was a fun experiment. It used up some of the blueberries that we have an abundance of. And like I said, even if it doesn't set up, we'll be able to use it as blueberry syrup if nothing else. So I got to get out of the way. Boss Lady's got us some deer vegetable soup back here on the back for supper tonight. So I'm going to go work on another project while she works on this one. And we'll see you next time. We love you. God bless you. This is James from Butler Farms, and we'll be seeing you.